In November of 2004, a United States Navy commander flew straight at an object that should not exist, and it beat him. No wings, no exhaust, no rotor, roughly 40 feet of smooth white surface, hovering over a churning patch of the Pacific like a giant Tic Tac balanced on nothing. When Commander David Fravor turned to close in, it mirrored him, and then it was simply gone, faster than anything he had ever seen fly. Minutes later, it reappeared 60 miles away, at the exact point his crew had been told to meet. This is not a story that leaked out of a chat room. The video his squadron recorded was declassified by the Department of Defense in 2020, and Fravor repeated every word of it under oath to the United States Congress. This is the file on the Tic Tac, the 4 pieces of evidence the Navy could not explain away, and why. 22 years later, the same shape is still on the Pentagon's. It started on radar. Days before anyone saw a thing, the guided missile cruiser USS Princeton, sailing with the Nimitz strike group off Southern California, kept picking up objects the crew started calling anomalous aerial vehicles. They were not behaving like aircraft. They appeared at around 80,000 feet, far above any normal traffic, and then dropped toward the ocean in seconds, flying to 28,000 feet, even down toward the surface, at rates that would tear a human pilot apart. The radar operators were experienced sailors on one of the most advanced tracking systems in the world, and they checked it and rechecked it, and the returns were solid. These were not ghosts in the software. Something real was climbing and diving in restricted airspace day after day, and no one on that ship could say what it was. On the day it went visual, Commander Fravor and his wingman were pulled off a training exercise and sent to look. Below them, the sea was disturbed, a frothing oval of white water, as if something large sat just under the surface. And above it hovered the object Fravor, a graduate of the Navy's elite fighter program with thousands of hours in the cockpit. Described it plainly: white, smooth, around 40 feet long, no wings, no markings, no visible means of propulsion, moving abruptly side to side over the churn. When he dropped his 18 down to meet an object began to climb toward him, then cut across his nose and accelerated away so fast his eyes could not track it. There was no sonic boom, no heat trail, just gone. And when his crew flew to their scheduled rendezvous point 60 miles away, the object was already there waiting. A conventional aircraft cannot do that. Fravor knew it then, and he has never walked it back. Then came the part the public would eventually see. A second Navy jet, flown later that day, locked its targeting camera onto one of the objects and recorded roughly a minute and a half of infrared footage. On the screen, a small glowing wingless shape sits against the black, and the sensor struggles to hold it as it moved. For years, that video lived in the shadows, passed around, denied, dismissed. Then in April of 2020, the Department of Defense did something almost unheard of.
It officially released the footage and confirmed it was real. Unclassified Navy imagery of an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
The government was no longer arguing the video was fake. It was confirming its own camera caught something it could not identify. That single admission cracked the whole subject open, and it is the reason offices like exist today. The last file is what happened after the secrecy ended in June of 2021. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence delivered a report to Congress on unidentified phenomena, and it could not explain the overwhelming majority of the cases it reviewed. 2 years later, in 2023, Commander Fravor sat in front of a congressional committee, raised his right hand, and told elected officials that the Tic Tac was far beyond anything the United States had in its arsenal. Not a drone, not a foreign jet, not a trick of the light. And here's the thread that ties this file to everything happening right now. In the batch of videos the Pentagon declassified this month, one object recorded over the western United States was described by the government's own analysts as resembling the Tic Tac 22 years apart. Same shape, same impossible behavior, same word stamped on the file. Unexplained. So this is where the Tic Tac file rests. It is not a blurry photo. It is a Navy commander, a cruiser full of radar operators, a declassified Department of Defense video,
and sworn testimony to the Congress of the United States, all describing the same 40-foot object that flew in ways nothing on Earth is supposed to fly.
The government has never claimed it was alien, but it has also never been able to tell us what it was. And now the same shape is turning up in files released this very month.
So it will put it to you, if a decorated fighter pilot, radar tapes, and the Pentagon's own camera all agree, at what point does unexplained stop meaning we are not sure and start meaning we are not ready to say?
Tell me in the comment. And if you want to see the shape that shows up more than any other in these files.
The object crews keep filming and cannot name. That file is